Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mac Story.
Hello, and thanks for stopping by the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast today. So today this podcast is releasing on December 31st, 2021. So I hope you've done well in 2021, but I also hope you want to do better in 2022. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. It's a subject, or the lesson that I'm speaking to you about today is a lesson that I talk about frequently at this time of the year. I've done previous podcasts on it. This one will have the same principles, but I'm sure there'll be different stories. So even if you've heard this at the beginning, at the end, or the beginning of a previous year, I may teach the same principles, but there's going to be a whole lot of different stories related to it. And that's the thing about when you teach principles and you use stories, you can teach the same principle and tell many stories to teach that principle, which makes the lesson a completely different lesson. Principle is the same, but the real lesson is in the story. So I just want to thank you for stopping by today. And in this episode, I'm going to be sharing 3 specific steps you can take to intentionally launch yourself to the next level and beyond in any area of your life, at work and or at home in 2022. And any other year you want to apply it. If this is a new lesson for you, you need to make a habit out of this lesson. Actually, Rhea and I, the 3 things I'm going to teach you today, these 3 steps, Rhea and I are constantly reviewing these action steps throughout the year. But also at the end of every year, we go to lunch and have a kind of a strategy session, and we talk about it intentionally and look at it really from a business standpoint together, because we're constantly doing it separately and sometimes together throughout the year, but we do it again intentionally at the end of the year. And so this is just a simple lesson to help you climb to the next level and beyond. And so what I'm going to do is, I learned this a long time ago. I think I learned it reading a book called The Speed of Trust by Stephen M.R. Covey. I think that's where I got the basic principles, nuggets, but they've been powerful for me since I learned them. It didn't take me but one time to read them, and they stuck in my mind like many things do. So I hope you get some value out of this podcast, and if you get some real good value out of it, feel free to share it and tell people about it and help somebody else. Not going to cost you anything, not going to cost them anything. This podcast is free, and I'm going to keep it that way. And it doesn't have any commercials. I hate the podcast with all the commercials. So let's dive into it. So these 3 things I'm going to teach you, real simple. I'll tell them to you simply, and then I'll dive down deeper into it, so you can get the gold right here off the top, the golden nugget. But it really is, these 3 things are, the first thing is, you need to look and figure out, what do you need to stop doing. The second thing is, what do you need to keep doing. The third thing is, what do you need to start doing. So now let me dive into that a little bit, because the first thing people do when they start wanting to get ahead in life, they figure out most people start at the last thing I told you, which is, what do they need to start doing. They need to start doing something to get ahead. But most people are busy. They're busy with life at home and at work. And when they start thinking about things they need to start doing to get ahead or to climb to the next level and beyond, first thing they do is they start running into these roadblocks. They're too busy. They don't have time. They don't have money. Tons of what I call excuses, but they may be legitimate, but they're still an excuse, because people they're going straight to the reason they can't do something. And it may be 100% true. That ain't going to get you far in life. You got to go to figure out, what can you do. So that's why you need to start with the first thing I told you, which is figuring out, what do you need to stop doing in your life that's costing you time, money, energy, resources. See, that there is no excuse there except for you don't want to do it. Because to stop doing something doesn't cost you anything. Not time. It doesn't cost you time. Doesn't cost you money. Doesn't really cost you energy. it could cost you some energy if the thing you want to stop doing is hanging around with the wrong people. That may cost you some energy because it may be hard to do. They may not want to go willingly. They may want to hang on to you with claws, and you may want to hang on to them. So it could take you some energy in that sense. But typically, when most people stop doing things, they save time, they save money, they save energy, save whatever resource you want to think about. So that's where I always get people to start is by stopping. Stop doing things that are holding you back, things that are not moving you in the right direction, so to speak. So I'm going to go through these three things, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to go through them again with some examples. And then I'm also going to teach you some questions to ask yourself so you can identify your success gap. And then I'm going to talk to you about one particular question that'll help you close that gap and get you from where you are to where you want to be. So the second thing you need to do, see, once you stop doing things, that's going to free up time, energy, resources, money. Now you need to look at, and you got to take this in context, which I'm going to do in a minute, but I ain't going to do it yet. I'm going to go through each one of these three things first. But the second thing is figure out what you need to keep doing. Figure out what you need to keep doing that's going to move you in the right direction, that's already working for you. And keep doing it. You're already doing it. Don't stop those things. And then the last thing is figure out what do you need to start doing. Because you stopped doing some things which freed up some time, energy, money, and resources. So now you've got some capacity to start doing some things. They need to be the right things. You don't want to start doing some more things that are going to waste your time, money, energy, and resources. You want to start doing some things that are going to move you in the right direction. They may cost you time, obviously. They may cost you energy. They may cost you money. But if it's the right thing, then the cost is justified because it's moving you in the right direction. You don't want to pay a price to move in the wrong direction. That's like doesn't even make sense. But a lot of people do it. They do it constantly. They do it daily. Some people. Some people just do it after work. Some people just do it on the weekend. They escape on the weekend from a job they don't like Monday through Friday, which only ensures they get to go back to that same job the next Monday through Friday because they're wasting their time. They're doing things on the weekend that's not moving them in the right direction. They're just using that time to escape. And many of those escape activities, it's going to cost you time, money, energy, and resources. So let me teach you the questions around this. And I could have done this before I taught you those three things, or I could do it after. It's kind of hard. Where do you do it? So I'm doing it now. So these are two sets of questions that you need to ask yourself, and what they're going to do is going to show you the success gap, your own success gap. And again, you can relate these things to your personal life, to your professional life. Those three things, stop doing, keep doing, start doing, those can be applied to very specific things. It could be like for your health. You could hone in, what I need to stop doing to be more healthy. What do I need to keep doing to stay healthy? What do I need to start doing to become more healthy? So you could pick a specific component. You could pick one component of your life, or you could pick 10 components of your life. But I'd suggest start with the thing that's most important to you. So the question is, and you need to reflect on this seriously, and you need to look and say, where am I? And who am I? That's one set of questions. Where am I? And who am I? Where am I in life? And that could be personally or professionally or both. And then who am I as a person? Just literally look in the mirror at yourself and say, who am I? How do other people see me? Not how I say I am, or not how I say I want to be, but how am I literally, which means who am I? So get that figured out. And you got to do the work on these two questions before the other two questions really have a whole lot of value. The other set of questions, they're kind of related, but they're looking forward instead of looking in the mirror where current state. You're looking forward. Instead of where am I, ask yourself, where do I want to be? Again, personally or professionally, or both. The second question is not who am I now, but who do I want to become? That's personally and professionally. And you really need to think about these. And then you need to kind of get your answers on a sheet of paper or on your computer or some device and look at the difference between where you are and where you want to be. The difference between those two are the success gap, because if you move to where you want to be and you become who you want to be, you will have closed that gap. You will have been successful at moving yourself forward, at climbing to the next level and beyond. So I call that the success gap, and you want to close it. These three things: stop doing, keep doing, start doing. If you get serious and intentional about those things, and you may want to try just one thing, one area in your life, and give it 100%, and you'll see the results. You'll see how powerful these three things are if you actually do them. But let's go back to these two sets of questions. When you get your success gap, when you get it identified so you can see it, now there's one main question separate from those two sets of questions that's going to help you close that success gap. It's going to help you identify what it is you need to do. And relative to what it is you're trying to change, yourself or your situation or whatever it is, this is the question. You've heard me say it before in other lessons because it applies to a lot of things in life. The question is, once you know your gap, you want to close that gap. This is your question. Will what I'm about to do move me in the right direction? That's the question you want to ask yourself when you decide to do anything. Will what I'm about to do move me in the right direction? Asking the question is not going to do anything but bring self-awareness to yourself, self-awareness, right? That you're about to do something, and you want to think and reflect on that success gap. I want to climb to the next level and beyond, whatever that means to you. And then you got choices to make. Will what I'm about to do move me in the right direction? You need to answer that question. If the answer is yes, and you do it, you're going to close the success gap. You're going to move forward. If the answer is no, and you do it, the best case you can hope for is you're going to maintain the gap. It's not going to get any wider. That's the best case. The worst case, though, is it's not going to move you in the right direction, and you do it, and it causes the gap to widen. And most often, that's what's going to happen. Very seldom is the answer to will what I'm about to do, is it going to move me in the right direction? If the answer is no and you do it, most often it's going to widen the gap. You're going to have more work to do. You're going to have to spend more time and energy and resources to close the gap. So it's about discipline. If the answer is yes, do it, close the gap. If the answer is no, you can still do it, but you got to know you're being responsible for most likely widening the gap, taking you in the wrong direction. Or when you ask, will what I'm about to do move me in the right direction? If it's yes and you don't do it, the best you can hope for is to maintain the gap. But again, not doing something you know you should do most likely is going to cause the gap to widen. And then there's the last scenario is, will what I'm about to do move me in the right direction? If the answer is no and you don't do it, again, maintain the gap at best, widen it at worst. But if the answer is no and you don't do it, if you actually will be proactive and find something that will move you in the right direction, and the answer is yes, and do that, you're going to close the gap. So just coming up to something and the answer is no, it's not going to move me in the right direction, then obviously you don't need to do it. A lot of times you may do it anyway, but you don't need to do it if you want to close the gap. So I want to share some examples, help you see what it looks like. Just simple examples in my life, but I've applied a whole lot of this in other areas of my life to get to where I'm at today with these examples. So one thing, I'm always trying to be healthier, right? So let's look at stop doing, keep doing, start doing, just relative to my health, relative to where it's at at this moment in time. I've done a whole lot of things already, and I may mention them as I go through this little exercise. But when I'm looking at my health, you look at your health. Ask yourself, where am I? Who am I relative to health? Where do I want to be? Who do I want to become? That creates your success gap. Maybe you're on medicines. You don't want to be on medicines. Maybe you're maybe you got some unhealthy habits. You don't want to have those unhealthy habits. Maybe you need to lose weight, meaning you need to lose weight because it's doing some damage to your health, and it's obvious, and your doctor knows it and you know it. Or maybe you just want to lose weight. Maybe you haven't had any issues yet. One thing I always tell people, depends on how old you are. Usually between the 40s and 50s. Some people it's earlier, some people it's later, but usually between the 40s and 50s, your free ride at being healthy is over. You got to start working for health. And depending on how unhealthy you may have been, the harder the work is going to be that you have to do, but you got to start paying the price. So I'm 52. I don't take any medications. I had never been on any medications. I don't want to be on any medications. Does not mean I won't be on some before it's over. But so far, I'm doing good. My doctor says I'm probably I'm probably healthier than 95% of the 52-year-olds that comes in to see him. So he says I'm doing great, but obviously I can always be doing better. So one of the things I need to stop doing is I need to stop eating so much meat. I've done a lot of research. I know I've already stopped eating a lot of meat, and my health has gotten better because of it. A lot of times animal proteins, most of the time in people, it causes inflammation. Inflammation causes back problems and all kind of stuff like that, and all kinds of joint problems because inflammation is not good for you. It may make you look puffy. I know since I've changed my diet, Rhea says, my face don't look as puffy as it used to. It's not as round as it used to be, I guess, because of a lot less inflammation. But that's one thing I need to stop doing. When I'm looking at health standpoint from where I am to where I want to be, I need to stop eating some meat. I've already cut out a lot, but I still can cut out some more. Until I stop 100%, I got room to improve. Will I ever do it 100%? I don't know. But every time I cut out a meal that has meat in it, I'm moving in the right direction. Every time I eat a meal with meat, I'm moving in the wrong direction. And this is nothing about animals and all that. It's just about being healthy. Before I started down my health journey, I eat meat 3 times a day, and I didn't care if there was any vegetables. And I still prefer to do that, but it's not going to move me in the right direction. And I've done lots of research and watched lots of videos and documentaries, but mainly what I have is results from it. So then what I need to keep doing relative to my health, what I need to keep doing is continue to drink raw fruit and vegetable juice every day. Back in 2018, that was something I needed to start doing, and I started doing it. And my health improved immensely. I didn't stop eating any meat. I just started drinking anywhere from 16 to 48 ounces of raw fruit and vegetable juice. Rhea makes it for us here at home. We have a juicer, and we've been doing it now, both of us, for over 3 years. I mean, I I could go into all kind of details, all kind of health issues that were starting to show up in my life that are gone. And then when I started uh, reducing the meat, when I stopped eating so much meat, it even went to an entirely different level. That's why I know I need to stop eating some more meat, but it's hard because I don't like vegetables and I like meat. But I can drink the juices; they're easy. So that's just one example. What I need to keep doing is keep doing the juicing. Now, what I need to start doing, I need to start exercising more. That's something that'll continue to lower my cholesterol. When I stopped eating meat initially last year, it's been about a year now. Again, I didn't stop eating it completely. I just reduced about 75% of my meat intake. Within just a few months, my cholesterol was down 50 points. My blood pressure was down squared away. Both of those things were getting up to the we're gonna have to start talking about medicine if this doesn't get better. And I'm like, it's gonna get better because I'm gonna make it get better. I don't want any medicine. So I know I started juicing. I mean, I was already doing that, but I cut out the meat. One thing I can always do, I need to start doing is I need to start exercising more. That'll be, I mean, I can do it. It's one thing I want to do this year. is start intentionally exercising more. I used to do a lot of exercise. I mean, I used to ride a mountain bike through the woods 2, 3 thousand miles a year. Rhea and I used to race them. Then I got back issues, and I had back issues for basically from 2012 up until 2018 when I started doing the juicing. 6 years, and it took a little while for it to get better. Then I cut out the meat, and most of my back problems are gone. If I do very much physical exertion, though, it does show up. But used to, it showed up 24/7, and basically now, unless I do some hard work, it doesn't really show up. So I need to try to get back into exercising because I kind of got out of that when I started having all the back problems. It was more just about being able to move around and do what I had to do without being froze up. But that's just one example. You can look at your health. It may be something completely different. Most likely it will be. But you can figure out what you need to stop doing, keep doing, start doing. Just identify, like I just told you, 3 examples. And then think about it all the time. You can do it relative to work. Like what I do for work, making these podcasts and speaking and teaching and writing and all that stuff. It doesn't seem like work, doesn't feel like work. I'm passionate about it. But as an example, I haven't written a book in 2 years. One reason is one of the things I stopped writing books. But even right now, I don't need to write another book in 2022. I may write one, but I don't really need to. On my list, I've got, stop writing books. Go for another third year not writing books. I've already got 14 books. At some point I need to start writing books, and at another point I need to keep writing books. But right now I'm saying I need to stop writing books. The reason is I need to be doing other things. But what I need to keep doing relative to my growth and my development. And when I say stop writing books, it doesn't mean forever. It means right now, whatever time period I'm looking at. For me, it's really looking at 2022. So you can change 2023. It may be start writing books again. But right now, it's stop writing books, meaning don't do it anymore at the moment. What I need to keep doing, I need to keep doing these podcasts. People seem to like them. I get a lot of listens. Countries all over the world. It's a resource. It allows me to stay sharp and talk about these things and keep them top of my mind. And I get feedback from people who listen, who like the lessons. Hopefully, you're still listening. You're one of those people. Hopefully, you get a lot of value out of it today. I hope you're sharing it with people. I don't really care if you share it or not, but it's great if you do because it gets the word out and it helps other people get better in their life. So, what I need to start doing, and I need to start doing more short videos. I do them from time to time, and I get feedback. People say, "Oh, I love your videos, man. I like to watch anything you got, anything you say or do. I just love to watch it. It doesn't matter if it's professional, if it's off the cuff, it's authentic." And most of my stuff not professional. It's just off the cuff, authentic. Everything I do is that way because I'm simple and I like simple life, and I know blue collar people like authentic people. So that's something you're gonna see a lot more videos if I stick to this plan and I could close my success gap. You're gonna see more videos in 2022 than you've probably seen me do in any other year. But that's professional side. That's the work side. That's how I apply it at work. How could I apply it just at home in general? I need to. One thing I need to stop doing at home is stop thinking Rhea can read my mind. I know I'm not the only person that ever thinks their spouse or significant other could and should be reading their mind. Sometimes I'll say something or she'll do something and I'll be like, well, why didn't you do this? Or, I didn't want this, but she didn't know. I need to quit thinking she can read my mind. I need to assume the truth is that she can't read my mind. And I need to treat her and talk to her like she can't read my mind. I can't read hers either. We've been married over 20 years, so a lot of times we've got good intuition about what the other one's thinking or doing, but it doesn't work 100% of the time. So I need to assume it doesn't work any of the time so that I can uh I'll tell you in a second what I need to start doing, but right now I need to stop thinking she can read my mind. What I need to keep doing at home that I do well and it's working for me and our relationship is I need to keep supporting her in all kind of ways. Be her biggest cheerleader. Share her stuff on LinkedIn more or on social media. Or share her podcast that she does. So I need to keep doing that and do it even more. I can be more intentional about that, but I need to keep doing it. And then what I need to start doing is I need to start doing more for her. And the one thing I need to do more for her is explain myself and declare my intention and be more clear, because I stopped thinking she could read my mind. So as soon as I stop thinking she can read my mind, I need to start being clear about what I'm thinking, or what I wish she would do, or what I wish I would do, or, or anything like that. So you can just see, I just made these 3 simple examples. You can apply them to anything. You can apply them to any relationship. You can apply them to any area of your life, at home and at work. And don't overload yourself. If you've never done it before, you might want to just pick one thing. And it doesn't mean next week or next month you can't add in 1 or 2 more things. You can do this. You don't have to wait to the end of the year, the beginning of the year. You can do it anytime. This is almost a habit for me, that I'm thinking about this all the time. I'm literally thinking all the time what I need to stop doing if it's not working, what I need to keep doing, what I need to start doing. And it could be in all areas. It's almost like subconsciously I think like this. But again, you could also become very intentional. If you and your spouse at home, or you and your team at work, if you're trying to get in a certain direction, if I was a leader of a team, I would want to pull my team together at least at the beginning of the year, after we just looked at what happened last year, and say, what do we need to stop doing? What do we need to keep doing? What do we need to start doing? And it could be in multiple areas within a business. It could be in specific departments. It could be relative to sales. It could be relative to anything. These are principles. And I'm telling you, they are so simple. But simple works. I'm a simple guy. People always say, well, your stuff's so simple and easy. It is simple and easy, but it ain't simple and easy to do it. People read my books all the time, don't do anything in them, but they love the book. And some people will read my book and transform their life. And if you know me, I read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It transformed my life, along with hundreds of other books I've read since then. But that book was the catalyst. So I hope this podcast will be a catalyst for you moving forward, not just into 2022, but for the rest of your life. Learn these principles. Teach them to your children. Teach them to your spouse. Teach them to your team members. That's why I'm saying, share this podcast, not from me. Share it because you want to help somebody climb to the next level and beyond. So I hope you have a safe and enjoyable end of the holiday season. Hope it's been great for you already. But what I really hope you do is I hope you climb to the next level and beyond in 2022. Because I'm going to tell you this, if you don't make it happen, someone else will. But it might as well be you. I know it's going to be me. And there's plenty of room at the top of the mountain, because most people are standing down at the bottom of the mountain watching other folks climb it. There's plenty of room at the top. The higher you climb up the mountain, the less room there's going to be. There's plenty of space. It doesn't mean we're up above other people, but it means we're constantly climbing and continuously improving, striving to get better. You may want to start a business. If you do, what do you need to stop doing? What do you need to keep doing? What do you need to start doing? See how simple that is? Then relative to that business, there may be certain components you need to ask those 3 questions. Develop those 3 strategies. Stop doing, keep doing, start doing. All right? Talk to you next time.
Make it happen, or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership Series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.